wealth and success for me, success is that I have become the person that God set out for me to become. I am the best me. It doesn't mean that I'm not continuously growing, but I am the best me that I can be. And that means for me that I have realized who I'm supposed to be. I'm walking in my purpose. I'm living out.
Dr. Juanita Taylor, businesswoman, life and financial coach, mentor, speaker, dentist, and author of Money is Intentional and Deliberate, is the founder and CEO of Ask Dr. Juanita Enterprises, an epitome of a lady non-for-profit organization, as well as Caring Smiles for You, children and adult dentistry. Dr. Juanita uses her knowledge and skills to coach women how to shift gears to their destiny and ascend to the next level in their lives and finances. Her practical approach to creating a financial freedom spending plan has helped women to take control of their finances, pay off debt, and save money. Her hope is to build you up to embark on a journey to life success that will lead you to drive your dreams to destiny through financial freedom. I'm Marcy Grayson. Thank you for joining me on the Finally Be podcast. Be the ultimate example of what's possible.
Going to be such a special conversation today. Just understanding that we are moving into this space of feeling freedom and ease of being who we are, and allowing ourselves to feel that effortlessness when we are creating our lives, and allowing ourselves to tap into not just our talent and abilities, but tap into the grace that comes with it. It opens the doors for us to allow us to feel that freedom. I have such a special guest, like I was saying. This woman is such a powerful presence. To really feel in deeply into who we are, she is definitely an epitome of a woman. Dr. Juanita Taylor. Welcome.
Thank you, Marcy. Thank you so much for that warm welcome and those encouraging words. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So I'm so excited about this conversation, lady. We've talked before, and this is something that I've been looking forward to, okay? I'm just going to say that.
I'm excited about it. I'm glad to be here. Yes, we've had great conversations, and I'm looking forward to today's conversation.
That's cool. I'm so happy about that. So I just want to dive right in. We just going to chit chat and talk, okay? We just going to do our thing, okay?
Okay.
Tell my audience and tell, Finally Be, what has been your journey, right? Into being this woman that we see today.
Well, my journey has been it's been a ride, I should say. Let me just say that. It has been a journey that certainly has not been smooth streets paved. It's been a journey that's gone around many, many curves, steep curves, I might add. It's been a journey going along a lot of detours and through the valleys. And definitely I've had to be able to climb my steepest mountains. And so it has been a journey. And so, we have some goods and we have some bads, as any journey is. And so, it began this journey on dentistry back in 2007. I guess I should say 2003, because that's when I started school. And so 4 years of dental school were, to me, the worst nightmare I think I could have ever gone through. Dentistry has been my second career. And so I did not realize that my journey in becoming a dentist would be such the way that it was. I was one of 100 students, the only Black in my class, and so for me, that was a very challenging journey for me. And but I can remember once I opened my practice, and maybe I was a year out of school, and I remember standing there in the hallway in my practice, and I remember stopping. I don't remember quite what led me to that moment to stop, but I remember standing there saying, I get it now, God. I get it. I understand now why my journey was what it was. And I said to myself, it was the journey to allow me to develop broad shoulders and wide stances in order to be able to stand here and go through the things that I needed to go through to support my business. So my journey has been a journey hasn't always been easy, for sure. Definitely has not been that. But I will not change it. I don't at this moment in my life, I can look at it and say, I'm not gonna change it. I'm glad things happen in the way in which they happen, because it has made me become the lady, the woman that I am today, the businesswoman that I am today.
Okay. I know that you have children, right?
Yes.
And being an entrepreneur, being someone who's in the public eye, and being someone who is a mother,
Uh-huh.
right? What were those lessons that had to be embedded in you in order to take those dynamic steps in your life that you took?
Well, my journey, when I did dental school, I had my family, I had my children. They were young. My baby, my son, he was a year and a half old when I started dental school, and so it was a very challenging journey. So my previous background is I'm a retired physical therapist. I did trauma acute care, and so when I did school for that, it was a breeze. I was always a great student. And so, not that that was not tough, it was, but it was a different tough. And so, when I set out on this journey for dentistry, to realize my dream of becoming a doctor, having my children, it was one that I wanted my kids. Let me just say, with that, my motivation to keep going was because of my children. I did not want my children to see me quit anything because I did not want them to think that quitting was ever an option. So I would struggle and push through and move forward because I didn't want my kids to see me quit and give up on anything. And that was my motivation. And so the lessons for me that I have wanted for them is that they realize that anything in life that they want, that they're working hard at it, is going to take some work. It's not just going to show up overnight. It might take many months. It might take many years. But if it's something that you're wanting, truly wanting, that you must be willing to keep pushing forward, no matter the challenge, no matter how tough it is, no matter how long it takes, that you have to be willing to continue on this journey, and ignore the naysayers, ignore what other people might be saying. Doesn't matter what they think. All that matters is what you think. And so I learned that very early on that there are going to be some people that don't see your visions. They don't share in the joy in the journey that you're trying to embark upon. And they're going to tell you how tough it is, and that this is something that you probably shouldn't be doing. But I learned that very early as a young girl. And so listening to people tell me that things are going to be tough and that I shouldn't do it. I think I got that out of my system very early. And so it's been really, really important for me to share that with my children, and that they believe in themselves no matter what, that they are on the journey is for them, it's not for their friends to see. Their friends may not ever see what they see, but if it's something that they truly believe in, to move forward in it and to keep pushing, and to just know that they must have faith in them, faith in the process, and know that faith is not going to make it easy. It's just going to make it possible for them.
Wow. You touched on so many extraordinary points. And there's something that I do with my clients is really digging into our principal powers, right? And our principal powers of choice and willingness, and understanding the perseverance that has to come with being who we are. And you
Yes.
said something so crucial, is that knowing that this is not the vision for everybody.
Yes,
right?
that's huge.
But it's the vision that was given to you that you have to be able to dig in your inner knowing and know it's possible, not just possible to stay in that place of hope and hoping it's going to happen, but knowing it's possible, that it's for you, knowing it's
Yes,
possible that there's a step to take, and that step that you take is going to lead you into that place of movement
yes,
and amplify the things you want for your life.
yes, yes, that's huge. That is huge.
It's so beautiful. So that place right there, you say you learned it early on to listen to your inner knowing, to take steps and be very and to forge that path for yourself and for the people that are around you. But how did you learn to trust yourself?
Wow. That's so I come from an amazing mother, an amazing woman, and I tried not to bring her up because it makes me get emotional. I still get emotional. I lost my mother in 2007, but it doesn't go a day that I don't think about her. But she has left a legacy here, and that legacy was imparted in me very early. So um, back when I was fourth grade, I've been a visionary. I've been a dreamer as much as I can remember. And for me, going back to fourth grade, we were in a pageant. Me and six other girls were in this pageant, and the local newspaper interviewed us, and they asked us what did we want to become when we grew up. And all of the other girls said that they wanted to become teachers and nurses, but not me. Not me. I had my eye on a bigger prize. I was going to become a movie star. and
Okay.
and that thing was so real to me. And so I grew up in a little town in Mississippi called Metcalf. And so back then there was not even a traffic light in that little town. It was so small. And believe it or not, to this day, there still isn't a traffic light there. And so, but there was, the newspaper put that what we wanted to be out in the newspaper, and everybody got to read it, including my little town of Metcalf. But there was this one lady that read it, and so I would go down to the local corner store, and I'd go into the store, and every time I would walk in, she would greet me by saying, "Movie star," and she burst into the laughter. Ah, ha, 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 ha. She's just laughing. This went on month after month after month. But this one day I go in there and there's this man there. I don't know who he is. I don't remember who he was. And I walk in and she says the same, "Movie star." And he and her, they burst into laughter. And while he's laughing, he says to her, "Why do you always call her movie star?" And she's dying laughing. And she says, "Because she says, ah, ha, 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 she wants to be a movie star." Well, I go home crying this day because I don't understand why that was so funny to them. Because for me, that was very, very real. See, I watched the soap operas back then, and on the soap operas, you got to see people with all this money and these big houses and all this
Mhm.
kind of stuff. And the thing that stuck out the most to me, they had fireplaces in their house. But I think the thing that touched me the most was this train around the Christmas tree. And oh my God, I wanted to have a train around my Christmas tree. And so the only way I knew to get this was to become a movie star. So it was very, very real to me. So I go home that day and I go to my mom and I'm crying and I say to mom, "Mom, why does LV always laugh at me?" And she says, and why does she think it's so funny that I want to be a movie star? And she looks at me, and it's the first time I can remember my mother ever building me up. And she says to me, "Baby, you are more than a conqueror through Christ Jesus who strengthens you. Greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. God will give you the desires of your heart. You can become anything in this world that you want to become." And so I set out for greatness because I'm going to become this movie star because my mother built me up, and I took that to heart. And the fact that I always did well in school. Now, let me just say, I didn't become the traditional movie star like we think. But I've had my share of greater than 10 minutes of fame. I've seen my face on many commercials on TV. I've been on covers of magazines. I've done my own billboards and I've been on them. And so my little friends, I've been in parades, and my little patients, they look at me and say, "Are you a movie star?" And I never will forget the first time a little girl asked me that. And I thought about this fourth grade story, and I said, "You know what? I am a movie star." So for me, it was the fact that God had blessed me. He allowed me to leave Metcalf no matter what other people saw, and they laughed at me. And I got to say that, you know what, I have the last laugh in this leg right now. And I think it was really that I was able to get outside of Metcalf. I was able to see life. I was able to do things that many people, are probably still in Metcalf that they've never been able to do and enjoy. I just saw life outside of Metcalf, and here I am. God has blessed me, and yeah, I just got to be able to do amazing things. And so for me, it's just knowing what it was that I want and being able to go after it, no matter what anybody else said or even thought about what I was doing.
That's so crazy. That is wild. This movie star over here. That just reminds me of this question I wanted to ask you. When so many different people come into our lives, and we have our own expectations from the systems that we in, us being, women, black, in this world of work, you know, and it's so much noise that happens a lot of times. And it sounds like the trust that you've had in yourself and the lessons you learned in your life and what you're expressing into this world for your children and the people that are around you is so relevant. But
Yes.
also those labels and roles, that pull that comes from other people a lot of times that we tend to struggle with. What would you say is some of those labels and those expectations that you've struggled with that you've realized you've overcome or you're even still struggling with? What would be some of those?
Uh, I think if I had to say anything with regards to labels that I find myself pushing beyond, it would be in my world, being a Black female, and so few of us, it's certainly more now as we move on, of being a Black female in I like to say, a white man's world, especially in dentistry or in a white profession, mainly in dentistry, is that I have to tell myself that other people expect me to be better. My journey has required me to always try to put forth a better foot, I think, than others. I always say to myself in my business that um, I find myself being challenged sometimes of who I am. And this may just be me, but I've always thought that, expectations of me and my business are not the same expectations that they give my colleagues, and so I think that's the biggest struggle and the biggest hurdle for me that I have to overcome is that I want people to know that in my business I am genuine. I'm a genuine person in general, but I think I always have to try to put forth a better foot, I think, being in dentistry. Just come from so many stereotypes of, that Black people, are different in business and we can't do the same things that others can do. And I want people to know that we can even surpass the expectations of others. And so I set out for that. I set out to try to, provide good customer service based on how I want me to be treated, my family to be treated, my children to be treated. And I think that's the biggest one I think that plagues me, if anything, during my course of being who I am. It's just that, I think I've done well and I'm very secure in who I am. So it's not so much of me having to overcome what people think of me. Again, as I said, I came from an amazing woman who built me up. So I never struggled with that. It's just, operating in a space of business, dentistry, those things were new to me. And so I had to, I had to groom myself. I had to get myself to a place that I knew that, hey, you know what? You're supposed to be here. It's not, you didn't just haphazardly get here. You're supposed to be here. And the fact that I'm here, it says that I'm more than enough. It says that God validated me, in our processes. That's what I'd like people to know, that, our processes validate us. We go through the things we go through to make us be who we need to be when we get there. And so I think that's really it for me. Yeah.
I love that you said that. That's so crazy. We go through what we go through so we can be the person we need to be when we get there. And it's like
Exactly.
your whole perspective on life is, I say this thing where in order we manifest every day in our lives, we're natural manifestors. That's who we are. We're natural
Yeah.
creators in this world. Our energy brings in whatever it is that's inside of us, right? And whatever it is that's at our core, we're going to see it in our life no matter
Yes.
what, right? That's the
Yeah.
grace of God, right? And when we get to this place of understanding of how to observe life as God, we can choose what we look like when we get there.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know,
Exactly. It's
and
about, I think, coming into who we are. And a lot of that is knowing what God says about us in the beginning. You have to be secure in that. He says we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And so just knowing those things. So when other people try to put things on you, you just don't let them touch you. Don't let them stick to you. They fall off of me because I know who I am and I know whose I am. And so those kinds of things. And so it's huge being able to build our kids up before they ever need to be built up. And that's what I tried to do differently with my children, is that no matter, it's not that they won't go through things and people won't say things to them, but hopefully they got a little bit in the tank prior to, what someone says, so they're not devastated, when things come at them, because they will come at them. People will say things to them. They will look at them differently than who they think that they are, and try to pass judgment on them of who they want them to be. But you just have to know who you are. And I thank God the fact that that's something that I never struggled in. And I think I am where I am and can be the person that I am because those were things that were handled very early on in my life.
I love that understanding, that building up. What does wealth and success look like for you in this stage of life?
In this stage of life, wow, that's huge because that's one of my major focuses is on at this point in my life. But wealth and success for me, success basically is that I have become the person that God set out for me to become. I am the best me. It doesn't mean that I'm not continuously growing, but I am the best me that I can be. And that means for me that I have realized who I'm supposed to be. I'm walking in my purpose. I'm living out the destiny that I believe God designed for me. That's what success means for me, is that I'm flowing in an area that I believe is things are coming to fruition for me. I'm not going against the grain. I feel like I'm in a flow. I feel like, things are happening for the good. As they're happening, because I believe that once we can tap into the destiny or the purpose that God has for us, I think we don't move. Uh, Everything's not a struggle, all the time,
The
and
ease.
we're able to move with ease. That's what success is for
Mhm,
me.
mhm,
The wealth part of everything is for me is certainly financial freedom. For me is what wealth is for me, and financial freedom has different levels to it. It means that I'm not struggling from paycheck to paycheck. And I heard a lady say this weekend that I'm not struggling from paycheck to Monday. And when she said that thing, it kind of got me. She says paycheck to Monday, meaning you get paid on Friday, and by time Monday got here, you were already broke. And so it's certainly not in that space. but being able to um, provide for my family, for myself, being able to realize some of the visions and dreams that I have, being able to pour into my own visions, not sitting back waiting for somebody else to get this thing going for me. Though I have a wealth of knowledge, I'm able to make things happen. And even if I don't know the area that I'm trying to move forward in, but I have a wealth of knowledge in the fact that I can either reach out to people or I can pull up resources that can help me. So wealth for me is a wealth of having the wealth of knowledge, is having uh, the financial means in which to do the things that I need to do, and that I don't, certainly after COVID, that I'm not so overwhelmed and so stressed about wondering if I'm going to be able to keep my lights on, if I'm going to be able to feed my family, and to be able to, if I need to take out a week or 2 weeks, to be able to do that without having high blood pressure, because I'm like, oh my God, I didn't work, and I know my bills are going to be behind. That to me is wealth. Just that's the financial freedom piece for me, is that I have a little overflow, some overflow, a lot overflow, that I can continue to do the things I need to do for me and my family. Wealth to be able to pour into others. My organization, Epitome of a Lady, it's a nonprofit mentorship organization. And that organization, our mission is that we help women drive their dreams into destiny. So that is not just about me, but I'm pulling someone along with me. That's what wealth is. I can pour into others who are not able to figure out life, and may not be at a place where maybe I was, and God blessed me. I don't believe that God gives us success without being able to help someone else. I don't believe that success for me is just for me. I believe success is for the people around me, the people that God has for me in my life. I believe that there are people assigned to me, and so my goal and being successful and wealth for me is meaning that I have reached the level that I'm able to help those individuals that God has attached to me.
Mhm. When we really go into this understanding of really redefining what success and wealth is for us, not just as a culture, but as a personal journey that we're walking on, it has to, like you were saying, it has to be more than just checking off those boxes. It has to be that inner fulfillment and knowing that
Mhm.
I don't, our purpose is to live this life in
Yes.
abundance and to know
Yes.
that we have everything that we need to continue to live being who we are. And who we
Yes.
are is through the observation of knowing that we're all one, knowing that, source, God, however we honor that part of ourselves, has this vision of our life that we can always step into and
Yes.
allow ourselves to pour more and more. Because a lot of people sit and think that overwhelm and this struggle that we're in, or we think that we're in, comes from our environment, but really it comes from our perspective on how we're seeing our
Yes.
life.
Oh, that's huge. That is huge.
And when we
Yes.
start to sit here and really sit back and notice the perspective that we're looking at the world in, if we're not observing it again as God saying it is, then it's really going to be limited on what we allow to
Yes.
do.
Yes.
And
I
so
truly agree with that.
that pouring from you is so much needed right now. You know what I'm saying? For people to know that when there are leaders like you in the midst of them,
Well, thank you. Thank
pouring
you.
is gonna come to them too, not just
Exactly. Well, God says, the oil starts from the head and it flows down. So
oh,
I accept I don't run from my responsibilities. I've always been one to go in towards my responsibilities head on. But the place where I am in my life right now, I know that God has people attached to me. And so it is important for me to get where I need to be who I need to be so that I can bring them where they need to be. Because God, some people are waiting on me to say yes. Some people are waiting on others to say
Right
yes.
there.
And so, and I don't ever want to, as we talk, you get to, the pearly gates and you wait for God to say, okay, you can come in and all this good stuff. And for me, I don't want to be there and he says, well, you didn't bring, whoever your people were. You never got to who you need to be so that such and such could come behind you. That's what success is for me. And so on this journey called success, it's an ever going journey for me. I don't know that I'll ever reach completion. I don't know. Maybe, completion is when he calls us home. I don't know. But I know that I'm striving every single day that I get up to be a better me, a better version of me. And the space in my life now, I try to find a positive out of every negative. And I try to share that with people, especially younger people now, because we can look at all of the challenges that we have in our life and, woe is me and why is this and why do they treat me this way and why do they do that? And so now where I am now, I try to say to them, in fact, I said that to a young lady yesterday, um, who was saying how she felt she was being mistreated at her job and this and that. And I said, well, how about, first she shared that she wanted to become a business owner. And so she's standing there with her mother and she went on about how people were mistreating her in her mindset. And so I said, how about you not focus on that? How about you make a positive out of that? And you just shared with me that you wanted to be a business owner. How about you think about what you're going through at your job as a lesson for you? And you embrace it and show up every single day and say, okay, what's the lesson for me today? I say, God may be using those people to rub the rough edges off of you. He'll use them as sandpaper to rub your rough edges off because you want to become a business owner. Maybe he's showing you how to be a better boss. And if you look at it from that side of it and not that they are just mistreating you, but they're teaching you how to be a business owner, they're teaching you how to be a CEO, maybe things might be better for you. And she just kind of looked at me and she was like, I never looked at it that way. And I said, but we have to choose how we look at whatever it is in life that we are going through. It's a choice. We can choose to, take that woe is me mindset, or you can choose to figure out what it is out of this that you're trying to get. And so for people, I'd like for them to say, because again, I'm a faith-based person and I can say either God sent this to me or he allowed it to happen. I believe God does not allow anything to happen to us that he does not first say, okay, this will help her become who I need her to become. So no is not a good situation, but I'm going to use that situation to make the best of her, to make it better for her. And if we believe that like I do, then I'm going to look at everything that happens to me and say, okay, God is going to use this situation, though I may not want to go through it, though it's tough for me going through it, though it's making me hurt, though it's making me cry. It is something that God is going to use to make me become a better individual. And maybe that's moving me towards being the person or the people that he needs to have around me. Maybe he's making me be who I need to be for them, for me, or whatever my destiny is, he's going to use those things in my life.
That pours into that understanding of embodying who we already are. Like a lot of people are sitting here trying to find their happiness and find, their greatness and find out who they are. But when you start from this place, even in your now of knowing that that person is already inside of you, like a seed,
Yes.
there's
Yes.
no finding it. It's just allowing
Yes.
yourself to say yes. Yes today. Yes, I'm going to say yes today. Yes, I'm
Yes.
going to say yes today. And keep opening that door within yourself because our principal powers, when it comes to our creative energy, is first choice, willingness, appreciation,
Yes.
knowing that we have
Mhm.
chosen this and that we're willing to take on that thing and appreciate it. Because when we
Yes.
appreciate something, that appreciation appreciates and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then
Exactly.
everything else is then it becomes that relief and that lightness, and that
Yes. It's
freedom that
embracing
comes from
it.
that.
Yes.
Right,
It's
right.
embracing it. It's
And
embracing
it's
your journey.
embracing it.
And when you can embrace it, it just opens your mindset up. You can
It
change your mindset
opens.
on how you view it, how you view what's happening to you. And I'm a firm believer that until you can embrace whatever it is that you're going through, you will never make progress. You will never move forward, because whatever that thing is that God is trying to get you to learn from it, you can't learn it until you can embrace it, until I can
Hmm.
truly understand what this was meant for me. And I'm sitting here pushing against and sitting here wishing it away and saying, oh, I don't want to go through this, but I have to go through this. I have to have the muscle capacity in which to sustain when I get there. God won't take us anywhere or give us anything that I believe we'll lose along the way when we get there. So I truly believe that He builds us up in a way that we can sustain, that we can maintain. But if we're fighting against whatever the lesson is that we have to learn, you'll never get there.
Right. It's about that sustainable transformation. A lot of people
Yes,
want to be in this place where they get this aha moment, but it's not sustainable because they don't
right.
understand how to take all of it in and allow themselves to keep being lit up by it. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And
yes,
oh, we can keep
yes.
going. We can
We
keep going.
are,
Let's
and I think the part of that is that we're not just physical creatures. And many of us operate from the physicalness of us,
Mhm.
the material things that are around us. And so we go after those things and we think that those things are going to be the things that satisfy us or make us happy, and make us feel fulfilled. And it's not that, it's the inner part. We are also spiritual creatures as well. And so we have to be able to come in alignment, in agreement at some point with the spirituality of us. And that's about these seeds, like you talked about, that are deposited in us. Those seeds, we have to be able to nurture them. And we may not necessarily know that we're nurturing at that moment, but the things that make us happy, the things that grab our attention, the things that we are passionate about, those might be the very seeds that are deposited into us that we can continue to build and allow them to grow. And you start to feel yourself moving in some type of harmony, some type of rhythm. Those are the things that we probably should be doing, but many of us don't get in alignment with those things. We're focused on the spirit, the physicalness of us, and forget the spiritual side of us. And that spiritual side requires us sitting down many times and getting by ourselves. And many of us don't want to be by ourselves. We want to be with someone all the time. And we got to go this place and we got to have this person go with us. And how about you just go and sit on the side of a lake somewhere, or side of a pool, or a backyard, or even at a restaurant, and sit there and have your own thoughts, meditate on your own thoughts, meditate on the things that make you happy as an individual, not as a group, not as a collectiveness. And so I think that until we are able to come into our own of who we truly are, really be good with being with us by ourselves, I don't believe we'll ever be able to tap into that spirituality side of us.
I love that. That's something that I really love diving into that perspective of knowing that we're in alignment. It's us saying yes to that
Saying
energy
yes.
being of who we are, and
Mhm, mhm.
seeing and saying that yes, I'm in alignment, and let me do things according to that alignment instead of going outside of
Exactly.
that.
Yes.
We could keep talking about this, but
We
we
can
have to
certainly keep
move
talking.
on. We have to move on. So I want to ask you this last question really quickly, and then I want you to tell us how we can get in touch with you and know exactly how we can work with you. And oh my goodness, and be there when you're doing something. But let me ask this question first. What life are you creating for yourself and those around you?
What life am I creating? Wow, that's a great one. The life I believe I'm creating for me and those around me is one of, I believe, serenity, one of calmness, one of peace. I've never been a drama person. Let me just say that. Think I quickly move away when there's a bunch of drama. Um, but for me, being able to have a life that of fulfillment, enjoyment, And that doesn't mean that I'm outgoing doing things every single day. For me, sitting actually here in my house, I actually had a day that I can actually sit in my house and enjoy it without moving and moving and moving. And that was today for me. And so, and I think, the enemy tried to force me to go to my office today because my computer wasn't going to work. And the first thought was like, oh my God, I got to go to the office now and, get on my office computer and all this good stuff. And then I said, well, no, you know what? I got a phone and people use their phone. I don't like using my phone. Let me just throw it out there because it's kind of small. But I said, nope, you know what? I'm going to sit here at my kitchen table. I love my backyard. And so creating a life for me is to be able to enjoy the things that I love to enjoy. And that for me, I'm a person who I enjoy sitting out. I'm not a nature person per se, but I love sitting out on my backyard. As it starts to get a little cold around my fire pit, I have a fire pit, and I love that. Just the stillness, the calmness of that for me. It allows me to move into my thoughts. I'm a journaler. I love to write my thoughts down. So for me, it's just when people come around me, I want them to feel peace, calmness about me that rushes off on them, rubs off on them. My family the same. This life can be a rat race, and we just run, 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 run. So I'm trying to create a life that's basically, I think that's really it. It's just peace and calmness and being able to get away to do the things that we enjoy in life from time to time. Not every day. I don't believe we can sit on the couch every day and expect things to happen. So I am a worker, but I believe we should be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor, whatever that is. For me is my patio. I designed my patio so that I can sit out there and truly enjoy it. I don't have to go to a hotel and, use their fire pit. I designed my space so that I get to enjoy the very things that I enjoy. And that's really for me. I can watch my granddaughters and my grandson with the play gym set. And, my husband teased me because I had it put up before they got here. And I said, but I want to sit right here on this patio and be able to watch them play out there. And I made it big enough that as the older ones, my grandson is 13, my granddaughter is 11, and then I have a 3-year-old. And so it's large enough for all of them to enjoy it at the same time. And so it brings me joy to be able to sit here on my patio and I can watch them play and enjoy themselves. And that makes me smile. And so I'm creating a space that will allow me to smile, look at my family as they grow, and smile.
I'm doing a rebranding of everything that I do in business. And this conversation today was it for me because you covered every single thing I want to do with myself and with my clients. It's really about what you were saying, creating a life that's worth living.
Yes.
Creating this place within ourselves to use all of our abilities and skills and all that kind of stuff and being who we know we are and choosing what's next for us. And I just love that. Thank you for finishing this conversation with that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful vision of what a life worth living looks like. Okay. I just really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me. We have had an amazing conversation. I can talk to you all day. But I realize we both have to go. And so for those individuals, you can certainly reach me. I have, with my mentorship organization, is Epitome of a Lady 22 at gmail.com. And that's EPITOME of OFA Lady, the number 22 at gmail.com. Also, you can reach me at askdrjuanita.mykajabi.com. And that's Kajabi, Kajabi. That's ASK Juanita, JUANITA.mykajabi.com. And my number is 317-397-9346.
But we are going to get in contact with you. I appreciate you so much for being here, Dr. J.
Thank you for having me.
We are going to welcome you back, and thank you so much for listening today. If you want more information about what we do here on Finding the Beauty of Life Worth Living, please get in contact with us and listen, share. This conversation is important. Thank you so much. And
Thank you for
ladies.
having me. Thank you. Take care. Have a wonderful day.
This has been the Finally Be podcast. This is your girl, Marcy Grayson, the intuitive therapist, and I am inviting you to a free consultation with me to disrupt those patterns, those things that are holding you in place, and see what's possible for you. You have these visions that are ready to be uprooted so that you can start growing in the life that you really want to create. And this is where you do it. If you go to finallybe.com, that is finallybe.com, and get signed up for your free consultation with Marcy Grayson, the intuitive therapist. See you then.